welcome to the Rose Show. As always, I'm your host, Jay. Who else but me? Okay, sorry, I just wanted to open at least one episode like that. I'll never do it again. Anyway, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Jay. Welcome to another episode of the Rose Show. As always, I am your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today, my guests are my friends Big Sherm and Zitro. Man, these guys are a lot of fun to be around. If you've been around them in a capacity of a live event, whether it be Camp Zool, one of the many shows Zitro's open for, or one of the Unity Fests that Big Sherm and his crew has worked hard to put together over the years. You know these guys are a lot of fun, man. Just some true OG Underground fans. And if you're a fan of the Underground, you know what that means. Just down-to-earth people, give you the shirt off their back kind of homies. And I always enjoy being around these guys a lot. It's rare to see guys like these guys in the Underground these days. It's getting better, but for a while it seemed like there was a real problem with, not finding those kind of guys, and it used to be littered. The Underground used to be littered with guys like these, and it's an honor to still know guys out there who still are passionate about the Underground, like I am. I think anybody that's watched the show longer than 5 minutes knows that I've got a passion for Underground, whether it be music, the entertainment aspect, whatever. And these guys capsulate it, so it's always good talking to guys like that, and it's always nice when there are people out there, and this isn't singular to the Underground. This is anywhere, really. But people out there that keep movements alive, and that's what these guys are. So anyway, I'm going to quit babbling and let you guys get to the episode. But before I do, one last thing before we get to the episode and a sponsor. I'd just like to remind you to subscribe and like wherever you're watching this at, especially YouTube, because after Camp Zool, we're going to be doing some giveaways, and you're going to have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel in particular to win. And it's, hey, look, all it takes is one click. That's all you got to do. If you're watching on YouTube, you're already one step there. Click subscribe. Make sure you do, because I'm going to be giving away some stuff that you're not going to want to miss. So anyway, I'm done. Enjoy the episode, y'all. All right, everybody, it's time to stop and let you know about today's sponsor of the show, Crazy Martin's in Piqua, Ohio, one of my favorite places in the entire world to go to. Crazy Martin's has provided their customers with quality products for over 20 years, from ashtrays to water pipes and everything in between. Stop in, check out their selection, and of course, check out their pinball machines. With over 20 pins to choose from, there is something for everyone. Crazy since 1996. I don't just say this about every place. I love going to Crazy Martin's. I've always loved going to Crazy Martin's ever since I was of age to go to Crazy Martin's. It's one of my favorite places in the entire world. Me and my wife go there almost every Sunday to play pinball machines. It is one of the funnest spots in Ohio you could possibly find. It is in Piqua, Ohio. Check out their website at www.crazymartins.com. What is happening, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of The Rose Show. As always, I am your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today, I've got two Underground hustlers with me. I've been in the same circles with these guys for quite a while. I see them more often than not at some of the biggest events. Anything where anything is popping, there's a good chance one of these guys is in attendance. And not only that, they're fun to be around, and that's rare in some cases, especially when it comes to these things, but they know how to have a good time. Professional as always. It is Big Sherm and Zitro. What is going on, fellas?
What's up, brother? Yo, what up, though?
Yo. So today, I just kind of want to have a conversation with you guys. I don't have any notes wrote down for today, because I just kind of want to chat. And the thing is, when I have guests like you guys on, not so much with Sherm, because Sherm, me and you have talked privately on multiple occasions, but I don't really get an opportunity to have like an actual conversation with a lot of people I work with, because we're there to work. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
We're usually doing, each other's jobs and everything. So it's hard to, actually have a one-to-one conversation. So I just kind of want to have a conversation, like I said, with you guys, and get some background stuff, and kind of learn how you guys got together. So I'll start one at a time, and I'll call each other out. But Big Sherm, let's go ahead and start with you.
Yes, sir.
Give a little bit of your background. Talk a little bit about, what pulled you into the underground scene, and your early beginnings.
So I started listening to the underground or Juggalo scene almost, damn, it feels like 30 years almost. I'm actually from California, but my family's from Michigan. I used to come out and visit, and my cousin was into the whole ICP thing, and got me a Ringmaster tape. That was my first actual owned media by ICP. And then years later, just listening in the scene forever. Then I started getting into street teaming, and then, as many people know who Bakelo is, out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey, man, you're the only one really repping me and promoting me like you've been doing with Magic Ninja and Psychopathic for years. How do you feel about becoming a manager?" And I was like, "I've never done it. I don't know what I'm doing. But if you want to teach me, you know what you're doing. I'm up for the challenge. I'm always up for new challenges." So started working with Bakelo about 6 months to a year later. He's like, let's try to do a label thing. So I don't think you'll get in trouble for me saying the label name, but Grinch Music,
Yeah.
Grinch Pinch. He introduced me to Zitro, and he introduced me to Histio, and we dropped it as a label, Grinch Music. And we had rocket ships connected to our back. And the reason I say rocket ships is when we started off, we went high and mighty, but a lot of people know them rocket ships unfortunately explode. And the way
Especially
that
when they get, especially when they get hit with a cease and desist.
yes, sir. And that's exactly what happened. I was getting prepped for my wedding, and within 10 minutes, I get a letter in the mail from Seuss's lawyers saying, "You guys need to shut it down and send us all your merch and close all accounts, yada, yada, yada." And
Hold
then
on, they wanted the merch?
they wanted everything that we had possession of.
Are you fucking kidding me? That is
Yeah.
wild. I didn't even know that they could request that.
They put it in there. Luckily, I was smart. We shut everything down. My brother-in-law's a lawyer, and Seuss's estates lawyers is the second biggest law firm in the world, not just in the country, in the world. So he's like, "You need to shut it down. Don't take a risk. These people aren't playing around." So we shut it down. And yes, I still have the cease and desist framed in my room, because come on, it's Dr. Seuss threatening to sue guys that are just starting to make it.
Right,
And then within 10 minutes, unfortunately, I got a call from George and Mike to let us know that our minister, which was supposed to be Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding, had got sick. And that's when Blaze stepped up, got ordained, and became our minister. So,
hell yeah.
Nice little route.
Fun story. And then Zitro, we'll get to you. But I was on the road with Bakelo when he was making all the stuff for Grinch Music. That was the Psychomania tour, and I was the one driving. I was driving the budget truck for Twisted, and Bake was my basically my ride along. And dude, we were kicking ass on that tour. I'm a hard person to tour with because I'm get to the next venue immediately. I don't care how much sleep I've had. I'm all systems go at all times. Bake not so much. And that speaks more on me than it does with him. Like, I'm extremely paranoid when it comes to being on the road. Like, we're leaving 10, 12 hours earlier than we probably should because I'm getting there before anybody. Like, every day I'm beating the tour bus, right? So I'm very difficult to tour with. I wore this kid out. Oh god, I felt so bad for him. And I think we were like 2 weeks in at one point, and maybe a little bit earlier than that. We ended up getting a day off. We ended up staying in a hotel or a Holiday Inn Express. That was every single night. That was every single hotel we got put in, if we were in one. And we have been running hard for like 2 weeks. We finally get a day off where we can sleep in the hotel. I'm exhausted. He's exhausted. I think we're both in bed by like 10 o'clock at night. And then at 1 o'clock, burp, burp, burp. Somebody pulled the fucking fire alarm, screwed everything up. We were both looking up so much for this fucking one night of sleep. We were talking about it all day. Finally, we're gonna get one night of sleep. Somebody pulled the fucking fire alarm and screwed everything up. It was terrible. But anyway,
Damn.
yeah. But so, yeah, that was that time period, man. He busted his ass on that Grinch music stuff between the graphics. Like if he was in the hotel room with me, he was working on graphics for it. He was telling me about all the stuff that was moving on. So when I saw him next and he told me y'all got hit with a cease and desist, yeah, that was pretty disappointing. But hey, it's kind of cool that you got sued by the second biggest law firm in the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
we were doing
worth
something
saving.
right.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
wrong.
Yeah, and wrong at the same time. Zitro, how about you, bro? Get a little same thing. Background, how you got into underground?
Oh shit. Well, I started rapping accidentally when I was 12 years old. There was this kid on the bus when I was going to school, and he was a rapper and shit like that, and he ended up dissing me just randomly. I'm just some random shit just because he was freestyling every day. And the other kids on the bus was trying to tell me like, hey, you should say something back. You're not gonna just let him, say something about you. And I'm like, I'm not really a rapper. I don't want to really get into it. But one of my boys talked me into it, and so I wrote a rap and I memorized it. Went back on the bus like maybe 2 weeks later, and I spit that verse, and everybody fucking loved it. And they were like, you should keep doing that. There was something in that, and it was really fucking dope. And even the guy that ended up dissing me that did that freestyle, he was like, hey, that was really good. I have a home studio. Do you want to like work on something? I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. He was like, I think you really got some talent. So I went over there and we ended up making a track, and we were going to perform it for our high school talent show. We ended up doing the tryouts for it, but we got denied because my verse was too violent. So there was no cussing in it, no nothing like that. It was just very violent, talking about beating people up and shit like that. So it got cut, but I did end up doing an actual track with it. And then after that, another one of my boys who happened to be a juggalo that I didn't know was a juggalo, he was like, hey man, come over, we can play video games and shit. So I go to his house, and he's showing me his music, and he was like, hey, I'm gonna play a track for you and you tell me what you think. I'm not gonna tell you who it is. I'm like, all right. So he plays a track, and it's Mad Professor by ICP. And I'm like, this is kind of weird, but it's kind of sweet. And he was like, this is the Insane Clown Posse. I'm like, who? He was like, the Insane Clown Posse. I'm like, all right. He's like, they're from Detroit. I'm like, for real? They're like, yeah. He's like, yeah. So I started digging deep. And then after that, I picked up Hell's Pit. And I'm like, this shit is fucking amazing. And I picked up every single Joker's card after that. Fucking started, going hard, like writing juggalo shit in my raps. I'm like, this is me. Like everything I've been doing before this is me. All this psycho shit, this is me. So that's when I knew right then, 2004, I'm a juggalo. Like, holy shit. So, yeah, and that's how Zitro was born.
Hell yeah, nice. It's so crazy, like the amount of people that started in the Jekyll Brothers era almost like is crazy because I did as well. Like my first, well, I guess I shouldn't say I started at Jekyll Brothers. Malenko had been out for years by the time I got hip to ICP. So I was more Forgotten Freshness Volume 1 and 2 when that double disc set came out. But my first clown record, like I was there for day one for Amazing Jekyll Brothers. So many people got started in that era. And I think that's the reason why that's kind of my favorite album from them. Not because of the content. I mean, don't get me wrong, the content in that record is fucking awesome. I think production wise, that's Jekyll Brothers is probably their best one. but the amount of people that era called to, I think is very overlooked because most people want to talk about Malenko, understandably, track for
Yeah.
track, that's probably the most solid. But I think the era of Jekyll Brothers means the most because so many people started getting hooked around that time frame. And again, I don't know if it's because so many people that were before that. Because
Mhm.
going back to what Sherm said, that was 30 years ago at this point. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
Yeah.
strange. But all right, hell yeah, hell yeah. So let me ask you guys this because I'm in Ohio, Southern Ohio. So we got, along I-75, we got a lot of the underground scene, but not as much as Michigan and such. So when it comes to around that time frame, was it everywhere? Like, was it plastered everywhere for you guys? Because for us, it was like when I went to school, I saw people with shirts on. It was the old school Joker cards, t-shirts. We all remember those. That was pretty much my only exposure to that. Up north, was it anything like close to that, or was it plastered everywhere?
Uh, I didn't see it too much. I seen the commercials on TV,
Okay.
but that was about it. And there was a few kids in my I want to say like maybe 9th and 10th grade classes that has some. But then I switched
Yeah.
schools in 11th and 12th, and I was in an all black school, and they didn't know what the fuck ICP
Oh yeah.
was, nothing. I was the only juggalo in that school.
That's wild.
Well, see,
Yeah.
That's wild.
for me, it was completely different because I grew up in San Diego. I didn't actually move to Michigan until 2002. Like I said, I would visit family,
Oh,
and that's how I would get my taste. And I remember seeing ICP, and there was maybe 15 of us in the crowd, and that was it. There was one buddy of mine that randomly came over, and he's like, "Oh, you listen to them too?" And he had Forgotten Freshness 1 and 2. He's like, I didn't think anybody else knew who they were. And I it was kind of cool because there was, from when I first seen ICP with 10, 15 people at this club, to then next thing I know, the club's completely packed. It's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, those were right around the Jekyll era where it was actually getting packed. And I think wrestling obviously had a lot to do with it. You and I both know the oddities, and then,
yes.
Vampiro and all that, the Dark Carnival. Um, so it was actually really cool to me, but you didn't see anything anywhere. The most you would know about ICP is if you happen to get lucky to know who they were, or out there we had a magazine called The Reader. It's similar to the Metro Times in Michigan. I'm sure there's a local magazine out in Ohio too. But you would see they're coming, and they would always get big ads, so it would hit you in the face. Plus the fact that you could go see ICP for 5 canned food items back then in San Diego was pretty. It was great.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So how did you guys end up linking up together?
That was Bakelo.
Yeah, that was Bake.
I
was
was
all Bake?
managing
Okay.
Bakelo.
Yeah, that was our mutual that got us talking.
Interesting. Okay. So at what point does Grinch music stop and then you get to where you are now? What happened in between all that? Because like you said, you got hit with the cease and desist. You got to restart. So how did you go about doing that?
So 2018 is when we got hit with the cease and desist, and I only know that because that's when I got married. Shout out to my wife.
Smart man.
Yes. So I mean, we were talking. What's next? What can we do to keep this going? We got this momentum, and the biggest thing was everybody loved the whole Grinch gimmick. Like, we had the Grinch pinch and the merch, and everybody was loving that. But it kind of put us on a small hiatus at the same time because we can no longer use that logo. And I mean, blessed to have George, who put us on the Freak show in Kokomo for Attack of the Ninjas, and Jump Steady, put us on the Gathering before the cease and desist. But when he brought us to the Gathering again, he's like, "Look, I still want you to use the Grinch logo or the Grinch name." So if you go back, was it 2019? Had to be 2019's program. Grinch was now spelled Griiinch, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it's 2 eyes, but yeah.
2 eyes.
Yeah.
Just to make it a little different and appease Rob, because he's like, people know who you are based on Grinch music.
Yeah.
but so that passed, and let's see, still 2018, DCG Con got shut down. I started doing my 4 Juggalos by Juggalos gaming thing. So music kind of went on the back burner for me. I would still work with them, and they'd be working on music, and I'd be trying to find shows and still doing my manager role. But I started to get more into the board gaming and trying to get the community to connect and all the drama, into a positivity. And then we played Unity Fest, Eric Elvigan and myself with 4 Juggalos by Juggalos. And we were like, you know what, let's try to roll out a label again. And at Unity Fest, we rolled out Non Grata Entertainment. Unfortunately, 2 members who were supposed to roll out with Non Grata ended up going different avenues. So a lot of people don't know Insane E was actually supposed to come into our crew as a 4th member. And then somebody else ended up signing to a label.
Well, it didn't really get signed.
And then about 6 months later, they were doing the Gong Show at Psychopathic when they started doing their Patreon thing. And I hit up Z and I'm like, yo, man, you should get on this. I think it'd be a good opportunity. I hit him up. Nada was on there as just Erica at the time. Had Bakelo on there. I did my Fago chugging on there. And that's what made us get close again is we're like, dude, why, you went on to doing that other thing, but let's link up and do this again. We work so well together.
Yeah.
And since then, inseparable.
So I want to point something out real fast that threw me off yesterday because it came up in my Facebook memories. That first DCG Con was 7 years ago. It's not fucking mind blowing. 7 fucking years ago. And it was so much fun, dude. Were you there when the second one got shut down?
I was the judge for the Into the Echo Side tournament in Denver.
So, okay, you were there. This is horse's mouth then. And then Zitro will get to you because I want to touch on something here real fast with you. What exactly happened? Because on this side of the country, everyone was getting all these different stories. None of them were lining up. And then I don't think there was ever a point in time where publicly somebody has said, this is what happened. I was there. Tell the story.
Keyboard warriors. People were talking their mess online through the screen, thinking nothing's going to happen because I'm sitting at a computer. And even though I'm going to this big convention where thousands are going to be, I could talk my mess and nobody's going to touch me. Well, I heard some situation, somebody getting jumped with the skateboard. So I wasn't there for that part. But the next day is when everything went crazy. One click, I'm not going to say who they were, came in attacking another one. Huge fight broke out right there in the main convention hall. I was probably 15 feet away from it. But once that broke down, they got everybody separated. The cops came and shut everything down. They're like, look, this isn't happening. So I remember Scum stepped up and he's like, look, I know you guys are supposed to have the concert there at the convention hall. I'm going to open up the Roxy. You guys can do your show here so Juggalos can still have their show. But they shut down everything. It was actually really disheartening because it was such a beautiful event in 2017. And then to go into 2018 and just watching it get busted up. What doesn't get discussed enough, though, is while everything was getting shut down and we're being told this isn't happening, it's over, my partner, Eric Elvigan from the 4 Juggalos by Juggalos, was talking to hotel management. And they ended up working out where we got to use the atrium area. We could hang out in game because we were still staying at the hotel. Most of us, we paid to stay there. And then they even opened up like the little banquet rooms there. And they're like, go ahead, you can have your gaming there, just keep everything kosher as long as nothing else happens. Just the convention side of things for this has to be done because of the big fight that broke out. So that's where 4 Juggalos by Juggalos got started.
I don't even understand that logic. You're still allowing people And I'm not saying the situation that happened wasn't fucked, because it was,
Yeah.
but you're going to let people congregate and play games, but the convention side has to shut down because of a fight. Because there's never been a fight at a convention before. What the
Oh, I'm
fuck are
sure
you
there has,
talking
but
about?
you
You know what I'm
had
saying? That's what
probably
I'm saying.
Right.
15, 20 people were in that brawl, and then they were all standing outside, and there was rumors of guns and everything. So when the cops shut it down, majority of the people, if you weren't staying at the hotel, you took off.
Right.
So for those people, everything was done. Some people went home, didn't even know the concert was going to end up happening still at the Roxy or anything. Um, so when we still had the atrium area, there was probably only like 50 to 60 people. Tops
Yeah.
would be crazy at 100. Most people left. They were like, it's shut down. They understood the cops shut it down, and that's what it was. And then the next morning, after that first drama, is when everybody got the letter put underneath their door that it was literally shut down. It wasn't going to pick up again. Um,
Hmm.
but Rob hadn't really known that we got this permission to do these gamings and stuff. So Rob had ended up meeting up with the crew that was working DCG. You know, they did tell us to come over, load up the trucks. And while he was paying me out, at least, I told him, I'm like, look, we're running these gaming tournaments. They're allowing us to do the gaming. And just like you said, he's like, what the hell? They shut down this, but they're going to let you still do it. He
Yeah.
actually donated some cool prizing. So we still had fun. It was just not as many people.
Yeah. And I want to say one thing real fast, and then I'll get to Zitro here. I knew, and I won't say his name either. If he wants to chime in and dispute me, I guess he can, but it wouldn't be smart because I'm not a keyboard warrior. We'll leave it at that. Um, when I was my very first tour with Minister Sobriety was a spectacular horror show tour, and we went to a certain place out in, we'll just say, the West Coast.
Yep.
And I when I was on that tour, I was going to every single group page and just seeing who was talking about what, seeing how many people had responded to the events or whatever. And I found this name, and this name was involved in this fight that we're talking about right here. One of the main protagonists.
Yes.
Um, and it made some comment about how am I not the only one who doesn't know, or I'm sorry, how am I the only one who doesn't know who the hell Minister Sobriety is? And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, all right, that's cool. A lot of people I'm sure don't know who we are. This is the first, real major tour that we've been on. Granted, we've been on the underground in a while, but we're going around the country for the first time in this capacity. Of course, people aren't going to know who they are. So I didn't think it was an insult or anything like that. But I ended up looking up his profile picture, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to track this guy down. I'm going to have a conversation with him, and I'm going to introduce myself and be like, this is who we are. If you like what you see, you come meet me at the merch booth, and I'll give you a CD for free, which is exactly what was my intent. So I go and find this guy. I see what he's wearing. He posted a picture that he was standing in line at the show. And I see his getup. He was wearing some big jumpsuit. I had a bunch of white jumpsuit, all covered in blood, whatever. So I see he's waiting in line. So I go find him in line and walk up. I extend my hand. I go, "Hey man, I'm Jay from Minister Sobriety. I saw you didn't know who we were, so I wanted to come and talk to you." Said guy, who is a tough guy, or at least used to be on social media, said guy goes, "Oh, dude, I don't want no problems, man. I don't want no problems." I was just saying, it starts panicking. I'm like, dude, calm down. I'm coming to introduce myself and just say, hey, this is who I am. This is what we're doing. And I gave him my spiel, like I just explained, and told him, if you like what you hear, come meet me at the merch booth. Okay, man. Yeah, I didn't mean nothing by it. I didn't mean nothing by it. I'm like, it's all good. So I turned around, never thought about this dude again. He didn't end up coming to the merch booth. It was fine. Later, he called us. I see in the comments somewhere else, he said we were a ICP cover band, which is hilarious because we did one ICP song and it wasn't even for them. It's because we were on tour with Twisted. We ended our set that tour with homies. But he called us an ICP cover band. I'm like, that's strange because you bitched out at a pretend fight that you thought we were about to have. And you know what I'm saying? But you're online talking shit. I didn't think anything about this dude for good 2 to 3 years after the fact. And then I see him during that time frame, Psychomania tour time frame. all over the place, running his mouth. And the whole time I'm like, bro, I know you are not about that life. So granted, I hated the fact that it went down the way it did, but to see him basically become irrelevant for the rest of eternity has been fucking awesome. The shit that led up to it sucked, but I knew from day one he wasn't about that life. Anyway, it's neither here or there. We're talking about you guys. Zitro, I wanted to touch on something real fast because
What's up?
I I I remember when this happened. I saw the talk online about it. In the back of my head, I was like, man, that is so fucking cool to see somebody of, see somebody's rise like that. And then it just kind of went nowhere. And I mean that completely with all due respect to you. I don't mean that insultly. It's just what happened, unfortunately. Sherm brought up something about two people split off from the, proposed label that that he was forming rather. And you were one of them. And
Yeah.
that would have been, I'll let you go ahead and take over from there.
Well, I can say the name. Fuck it. I went with Shrunken Head Entertainment with Razakel. And things were going cool for quite a while. I had just got off of tour with her, and after that tour is when she wanted me to join Shrunken Head. And so I accepted, and that was right before they were about to make the announcement for Non Grata. So I had to break those guys the news, like, I think it's a good move. I'm sorry, but they kind of understood. They still make fun of me to this day, and making that choice. But everything was going smooth for a little while up until the Gong Show. Once the Gong Show happened is when I started to get side-eyed by some people on the label, and I noticed, and they were making slick comments online, and that's when I was like, I think it's just time to go. And then I talked to Razakel, and I'm like, I think, I sent her a nice long message, and I was like, in so many words, I think it's just time for me to just leave. Like I'm sensing a lot of tension ever since the Juggalo Gong Show, and then me getting main stage at the Gathering. I think it's just best for me to just go on my own. I'm like, I thank you for everything that you've done, but I gotta move on. Like it's not going to be healthy for me to stay. She wanted to talk about it after, but then just a whole bunch of things happened, and the talk never happened, and I was just dropped completely. So it is what it is. But then I got a huge boost from Psychopathic and Jay shouting me out on a whole bunch of shit. So, that helped a lot, especially getting to open up the Yum Yum Bedlam release, being mentioned in the booklet. That shit was a huge surprise and help for me at the same time. Because I had no idea that they were even putting me in the book. I found out the day after the album came out, after I opened the show, that I was in the book, and everybody was, sending me screenshots of it, and I'm like, holy shit. And then it blew up into other shit, and people were speculating I got signed to Psychopathic and all this, and it was like that's nice, that's cool, I'll take that, but it was all just partly to help me get my name out there. So yeah.
There's something that is called a crab bucket mentality. Now, for those who don't know what that means, is if you have a bucket full of crabs, and let's say you got 12 crabs in a bucket, and one is almost to the point where it's about ready to claw out of the bucket, one of the other crabs will pull it down.
Yep.
That is the today's underground to a T. And I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. There is plenty of room in this game for everybody. Plenty.
Yep.
If anything, there's too much room at the moment because
Yeah.
ever since the bullshit, it's like everybody kind of split off into all these side factions and nobody's really working together.
Yeah.
If everyone would get their heads out of their asses and realize that just because you're getting attention doesn't mean I'm not getting attention, or vice versa, whatever it might be, you know what I'm saying? That's good for everyone.
Right.
The underground was at its strongest in the last, I guess it's the turn of the 2000s, when you had suburban noise, you had strange music, you had funk volume, you had obviously psychopathic. You know, when there was multiple groups and multiple labels and multiple artists all pushing out flavor, it was super strong. Then a division happened. Now everybody's just like scared of anybody getting a little bit more shine of them. I don't understand that. It's not healthy.
No.
How much people the reason why there are so many podcasts today that are quite successful is because there's so many people doing it. People need to break the mentality of just because you're getting shine, that means somehow I'm not getting any. People are constantly taking in content in record numbers these days. We need more. We need more. We need more. So when you have someone like you being inserted into, I don't mean this as an insult. It's just the truth. And again, you can aim this at me if you want to. That's fine. But again, I don't mean this as an insult. I think anybody would know this. When you insert someone of your caliber into a group like Shrunken Head that is incredibly small, let's be honest, as far as their drawing ability, why would anybody be upset about that unless they thought themselves lesser? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I
Right.
don't mean that as an insult by any way, shape, or form. But when I
Mm-hmm.
hear shit like that, it infuriates me because now everybody's a fucking crab in a bucket. Everyone. And I don't get it why. The only place I don't experience that at is LLE events. And that's something I'll kind of want to talk about next with you guys, because that's obviously some of the stuff that we've been doing more recently. But LLE, in my opinion, and I'm not just saying this because I work for him, and Lee Carver's is my best friend. You know what I'm saying? Full disclosure, yes, he was the best man in my wedding, but that's not why I'm saying this. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. LLE is the only people, in my opinion, today that don't have their heads up their ass and are actually trying to put on the underground. This Camp Zool, this next one this year, 2024, has 3 days worth of underground ninjas on it, and it's just underground ninjas. There is no like gigantic headliner. They are going out of their way to give everyone shine, and that's why I love working with them. But I want to talk to you guys about your Camp Zool experiences since you've been coming to them, because it is, I don't think the word has been put out yet just how fun this shit is. Like I said, these guys are doing this shit right. It's got that old school mentality to it. Sherm, I know you're putting in more with the game section side of it. Zitro, let's go ahead and talk to you. Do you have any like memories of being at camp or anything like that?
Like, one of the best experiences I had was like after everything was said and done. I think it was the first night or the second night with ABK.
That would have been first. Yeah, that would have been the
Yeah,
first
first
night.
night.
Yeah.
Man, me and ABK got so drunk and it was so fun. We was talking shit to each other for like an hour. He was making fun of me because I was on keto and all this and that, and it was a good time. And that was one of the few times that me and ABK like really hung out, and
Yeah.
it was cool. And the games were dope. I got a lot of love, you know what I'm saying? The performance went great. It was just, it was just an all-around good time. It was a completely different vibe than the gathering, but
Yeah.
it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so laid
Right.
back and relaxed, and it was dope. And that the grounds were sweet to like just walk through and look at all the old shit and the creepy ass people walking around. It was a good experience. I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure. Sherm, how'd you get hooked up with him into doing the game side of it?
I want to say Bill had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I know you got this Four Juggalos thing. What do you feel about doing a late night gaming session?" And I was all about it. And Lee's like, "Look, I want to come and play Magic," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, come on out!" Because I have done gaming events at like Astronomicon. I think it was the second Astro. They let me do a gaming event, and it was cool because like ROC showed up, Gmo came out and played Jenga, like just that interaction. And then with Lee being like, "Dude, I want to play Magic," I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna get a special edition little trophy, little trinket like I had got for the winners. I'm all, if anybody beats you, they win it. Like it's gonna be one of a kind. Nobody else is gonna, any of the winners, none of them are gonna get it. Only the person who could beat you in Magic." So that's how I got brought in the first year. I was supposed to come back the following year, but my wife does like all kinds of dance, belly dancing and stuff like that. And it just happened that her dance show was the same weekend as camp. And I'm sorry, wife's always gonna win. And then this year I make my return, and we're doing it 2 days instead of one. Billy and I had some conversations, and we're starting to put stuff together. This year is going to be quite interesting compared to the first one, because it's cool to do one thing. It's so much cooler to do something you haven't done before. We always give out prizing. So one thing about the Four Juggalos by Juggalo events, any of them that we do, there's free stuff to be won. I mean, jerseys, tickets to shows, rare or unseen CDs. You never know what we're going to give away for prizing. We always make posts. Hey, if you're a underground artist and you want to get your name out there, you want to send us some shirts and CDs, we'll accept it. We'll put it into our prizing, and it gives people that might not have an opportunity or spotlight to get in somebody's CD player. Because if I'm getting a free CD, 90% of the time it's going in my CD player at least once. I'm going to give it at least one opportunity. So I get a lot of donations for prizing, which is awesome. And then this year I will give away, I'm bringing in a wheel, like a carnival wheel. We're going to do our raffle like we always do. On that wheel, there will be good and bad things. And I got permission from Bill to do it, and I cannot wait, including free alcohol for people of age.
Hell yeah.
Oh shit, I know. This is one that I'm going, look, I'm fucking terrible about hanging out. And I'm going to do my best this year to hang out. I'm asking everyone, if you're watching this and you're gonna be there this year, make me fucking hang out, because I'm such a homebody. I go straight back to the hotel. I don't, and by the time I get home, I'm like, ugh, I should have done some of this shit. My point is, I'm gonna try to make it to some of these games. Sherm, I've already talked to you about this. You have to make me do some of this shit, because I'm missing out on life because I'm such a fucking introvert.
I do want to say this. I want to say three things about Camsville that people, if you haven't been, you need to know. And the first thing I'm going to say, I've only said it about DCG Con, which unfortunately we don't have. But Camp Zool, if you've been to the gathering, you might want to take a year off and go. I'm not saying don't go to the gathering, but go to Camp Zool, because it is OG gathering vibes, in my opinion. If you went to Nelson Ledges, Crystal Forest back in the day, that is what you're getting with Camp Zool. You are getting the love. You're getting the attention from the artists that are there. There's so many little things to do, and it's just spectacular. It's so amazing. So the first thing, if you've never been to Camp Zool, find a way to get there. The tickets are half the price of the gathering. Flights to Ohio you could get for fairly cheap, even from California. I have done research. That's how I know this. Number two, with gaming happening at Camp Zool, it's family fun. Camp Zool is a fun environment for the family. Astronomicon just happened. It's a convention, family fun. Camp Zool definitely gives the ability for family fun. Number three, LLE, like Jay said, they show that family love to the underground, and you don't get that a lot of places anymore. Nobody's there to try to sneak up on you. Okay, yes, they are. There are people that are going to sneak up.
There are literally people there to sneak up on you.
But they're not there to give you a bad time. They're there to give you a good time.
Right.
And and I'm talking all hours of the event and even after hours. You will see artists. You will be having a blast. He mentioned ABK being at the gaming on the last one that I did. He didn't mention about.
Oh.
I'm going to bring this up to you. You might have to edit it out just because it's
Okay.
cool. It's funny.
No, you can leave it in.
So Killa decides. I brought snacks. I always bring snacks to gaming events because what's a gaming event without having some chips or snacks? So I brought zebra cakes. Killa found a balloon and it had a face on it. I don't even know what the face was, just a regular face. He snuck up to the stage. He grabbed a pack of zebra cakes. He's coming slowly over by me, hiding out behind this balloon like nothing happened. Makes it to the other side of the room. And I don't know what led up to it, but he nubbed a zebra cake. And it was hilarious. There is nothing better than just it was fantastic. You never know what's gonna happen. And just the love
he had a fucking blast. Like I've been to I don't know how many events where we're both backstage and watched them. I can't even count at this point, but he had a fucking blast that day. It's funny because his DJ was supposed to rock with him that set, right?
Yep.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know why the fuck you would set up your laptop 4, 5, 6 hours before you're even supposed to go on stage, but his DJ did. Somehow his laptop, it was one of those monitor only laptops. Somehow that motherfucker ended up face first on the ground, broke, shattered, couldn't use it. And his DJ's backstage like going crazy because this laptop got fucked up. And Killa's just talking shit to him the whole time, like, come hit this blunt. Like, it's making fun of his own dude. Like, I don't know what happened to him like in the last couple of years, but it seems like he's so much more chill and so much more willing to like let go than before in the past. But also, you can do that at Camp Zool. Going back to what you said, the vibe there feels different because you're not surrounded by people. It's not a clout contest. At Camp Zool, like you said, all the artists are walking around interacting with everybody. The Magic the Gathering tournament thing that you brought up with Lee was there. He literally got off stage, grabbed his backpack, drenched in sweat, walked over to go play Magic the Gathering. This is a national artist we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't give a fuck that you know that, yeah, he raps about cutting your face off and then he goes and turns 2 on mana. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't, it's not that kind of a vibe there. And to be honest, it's the only reason why I work it, because it still allows me to be around what I left when I gave up music when Minutes to Sobriety called it quits. I still get that vibe there. I still get that ability to release that, inside of me. And I'm not going to lie, there's times where I look up on the side of the stage and think, man, it would be so great to be up there again. But then I think about the amount of work that goes into it. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll stay on the side of the stage. I'll be all right. But you're absolutely correct, y'all. It's something, and I didn't mean to turn this into a 15-minute, Cam Zool commercial or whatever, but you don't get that kind of shit anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's right around the corner. I'm more than okay with it. I'm excited, man.
I am too. And like I said, this is going to be the first year. And not only that, like I know so many more people now, as far as like the day oneer Zooligans anymore. Since I started this show, I've been able to get in contact with so many of them because again, I don't talk to anybody when I'm at these shows. We're working. Same thing I was talking about with Zitro. I've never had a conversation with you until today. Same thing with the fans. I'm constantly on stage. I'm constantly making sure the show's going. I'm constantly, doing shit. But now since I've done this show, I've been able to interact with a lot more people when it comes to the content of this, which has been heavily centered around LLE content. And man, that's another reason why I want to, me, an introvert, I want to interact with people at this event. Not just, you know what I'm saying? Not just anywhere. I want to interact with people at this event because I feel like I can do that there. I know I can have fun there. There's not going to be anybody there telling me to show me their butthole. I'm sorry, I fucking hate that. I hate that about modern juggaloism. I think that is some of the corniest fucking cheap heat bullshit, in the world. You don't get that at Camp Zool. So, and not only that, shout out to Terror Town, man. These people have
Dude,
opened their doors
I love
to
that place.
us, dude. And the people that run it, they love everything that we bring to it. You know what I'm saying? And it's so rare to see stuff like that. But in closing, because we're going on close to about 50 minutes here. In closing, I want to play a little bit of a game with you guys because I do this at the end, and it's usually a format of this. So, Zitro, I'm gonna start with you.
Oh boy.
You only got 3 albums to listen to the rest of your life. 3. What are they?
Oh fuck. Ah.
And this isn't really fair because now Sherm gets to. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna switch it up for Sherm. I'm gonna switch it up for you.
I'm gonna have to go with Tech Nine, Ever Ready, The Full Boy.
Ooh.
What else? Eminem Show.
Damn, you went with the show. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then Nappy Roots, watermelon chicken and grits.
Can we, man, I'm so glad you brought up that record. Can we not discuss for a second just how time has forgotten that important piece of work? Like that, when that, we just some country boys. When I first heard that track, I'm like, oh shit, because it was, what was that first single off that record? Oh God, why can't I think of the name?
Oh no, hell no.
Yeah, that was it. Oh, y'all done up and done it. Oh no.
Heads Up.
Yeah.
Heads Up was dope too.
The vibe that they put out with, oh no, hell no, boy, y'all done up and done it. That track did not properly prepare you to go into that record because I think it gave people the idea that was like they were kind of a comedy act a little bit. Nah, that album goes fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bro, my favorite track on there was Heads Up. Heads Up is what taught me how to chop in the first place. Like that first verse by Be Still, bro. That shit, I recite that fucking verse all the fucking time. Cause like I was never a fast rapper back in the day, but it was just something about that verse that I was like, I have to memorize this. I had to memorize this. And now it's just like, y'all have never heard of Be Still? Look at seal screwed up Coupe de Ville with the dirty cow grill. You kill a cowboy with dirty cow bill. Hell, anyway, you do the certified player. The thickest, the thicker, the better, the picker, the litter. The sicker, the chicken, bigger, the can deliver. They can deliver the shiver, they give it the bat, make the bacon, the nigga deliver the mickety mac. And I was like, oh shit, that cat was killing it.
Yep. And it flows perfectly. With that track, it flows perfectly. Like the beat is fucking fire.
Yeah.
The hook, simple but effective. Shawty, where your head at? Show me where your head at. Yeah, go back and listen to that record if you never listened to it before, because it is by far one of the dopest records I've ever heard in my life that we have just completely forgotten about as a people. See, that's why I like asking these people these things. Yes, it might take you a minute to answer, but some of the answers, whoo, good fire. So, Sherm, I'm not going albums with you because you had too much time to sit here and think about it.
You know, and what's funny, it's funny because the artists I would name, you probably wouldn't expect.
All right, we'll revisit it after this. Okay, so top 3 matches of all time. What are they? I guess I should specify wrestling matches of all time.
I figured we weren't talking about nude wrestling or anything.
Oh, this is for the people that don't fucking know.
All right, so I'm gonna get a little heat for probably some of these choices.
Oh shit,
damn, it's rough. But so growing up in San Diego, I was supposed to go to WrestleMania multiple times. I love the Iron Man match, HBK and Bret Hart from the Pond, where the boyhood dream came true. That will reside with me. The one I'll get heat for is a McMahon in every corner at WrestleMania 2000.
Whoa, yeah, that's a bold one right there.
So I was always a huge Mick Foley fan. The fact that he came back for that event, that was my biggest draw to actually go to WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, he retired like 2 months prior to that, and then he was there again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he went out, I think, second. I think Big Show went out first, and then Foley went out second or something like that. But dang, that's a tough one. Gosh. The I Quit match of Bret Hart and Bob Backlund was pretty incredible, in my opinion.
Nice.
That would probably be my weird top three.
Who would be your albums then, since you said the names would shock me?
I wouldn't be able to tell you the album names anymore because I've got so bad at knowing albums. Guttermouth, Misfits, and honestly, Nain Rouge by him just kills it for me. So if I had to pick three artists to listen to on a regular basis, Guttermouth, I think surprises a lot of people just because I'm more, in hip hop, the underground scene, and Misfits, but Misfits kind of goes hand in hand with Psychopathic on some of their things. Yeah. But yeah, I grew up on a lot of punk rock and ICP. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all joining me today. It's been fun getting to actually sit down and have a conversation. Like I said, I enjoy being around both you guys every time we run into each other. It's nice to be around people that just want to be in the game, and you guys do it. You do it very well, very effectively, and I appreciate everything you guys add to the scene. Because, like I said before, we need as much of it as we can get. There's actually a shortage of hard workers out there, I think. So every time that I talk to one that is, whether it be you guys, Keegan Grimm, whoever, of that stature that's out there doing it, man, keep doing your thing. It's important and it's needed. So I'll go ahead and give the last couple of minutes to both you guys. If there's anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Go ahead, plug. Go ahead first.
All right. So first off, again, the gaming at Camp Zool. You can come out there, 2 days of gaming. I started making my second album, Shermology. I'm also working on another CD as of today that I wasn't supposed to do. And it's actually a horrorcore album. And this guy's actually liking what I'm doing. I am not a rapper. I'm not an artist, but he's actually liking it. So definitely keep your eyes and ears open for that. Shout out to Ghost House Entertainment, which actually is a label who's put my merchandise out and put my music out with me. Again, not being an artist kind of blew my mind to have a label that said, hey, we're new. You're doing this new. We got each other's back. So shout out to John Filipikowski. Shout out to Bakelo and Histio, who aren't here with us, but Bake's on tour, killing it. Histio's working on new music. What you got, brother?
I got a new single that might be out by the time this airs. I'm not sure. Hopefully, I'm going to be shooting the video here next week for my new track called Tap Me Up. It's going to be shot by Bob Rocks. That shit's going to be fire, so be on the lookout for that. Let's see. I also got June 15th is Juggalo Prom Night at Harpo's in Detroit. And that's going to be with who's on that show?
Trey Pound,
Hatchet Man Project, Clockwork E, Cluner, and Danny Dollars. So yeah, y'all can pull up to Harpo's June 15th and help crown me Juggalo Prime King, because I'm coming for that crown. I don't give a fuck.
And but Jaeger Slam 2.
Yeah,
I didn't plug Jaeger Slam 3, Carl's Tavern, December 5th, 6th, 7th.
There you go.
I'm stacking the lineup because I'm turning 40. I'm getting up there finally in that gray age.
Over the hill. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Well, again, thank you, fellas. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.
Jaeger World Order, yo. Much love.